I gave my political life's blood to try to stop the mass killing of Iraqis by the sanctions on Iraq, which killed 1 million Iraqis, most of them children. Most of them died before they even knew that they were Iraqis, but they died for no other reason other than that they were Iraqis, with the misfortune to be born at that time. I gave my heart and soul to stop you committing the disaster that you did commit in invading Iraq. And I told the world that your case for the war was a pack of lies. I told the world that Iraq, contrary to your claims, did not have weapons of mass destruction. I told the world, contrary to your claims, that Iraq had no connection to Al-Qaeda. I told the world, contrary to your claims, that Iraq had no connection to the atrocity on 9/11/2001. I told the world, contrary to your claims, that the Iraqi people would resist a British and American invasion of their country, and that the fall of Baghdad would not be the beginning of the end, but merely the end of the beginning. Senator, in everything I said about Iraq, I turned out to be right, and you turned out to be wrong. And 100,000 people have paid with their lives. 1,600 of them American soldiers sent to their deaths on a pack of lies. 15,000 of them wounded, many of them disabled forever, on a pack of lies. If the world had listened to Kofi Annan, whose dismissal you demanded, if the world had listened to President Chirac, who you want to paint as some kind of corrupt traitor, if the world had listened to me and the anti-war movement in Britain, we would not be in the disaster that we're in today. Senator, this is the mother of all smokescreens. You are trying to divert attention from the crimes that you supported, from the theft of billions of dollars of Iraq's wealth. Have a look at the real oil for food scandal. Have a look at the 14 months you were in charge of Baghdad, the first 14 months, when $8.8 billion of Iraq's wealth went missing on your watch. Have a look at Halliburton and the other American corporations that stole not only Iraq's money, but the money of the American taxpayer. Have a look at the oil that you didn't even meter, that you were shipping out of the country and selling, the proceeds of which went who knows where. Have a look at the $800 million you gave to American military commanders to hand out around the country without even counting it or weighing it. Have a look at the real scandal breaking in the newspapers today, revealed in the earlier testimony in this committee, that the biggest sanctions busters were not me or Russian politicians or French politicians. The real sanctions busters were your own companies with the connivance of your own government.
You mentioned that the reason Reagan increased defense spending so much was to destroy Russia and communism, yes, and then the greatest threat to the entire world.
Well, we thought Ronald Reagan was a pretty decent threat to the world too.
Well, I don't understand how that is. He didn't cause a war. He ended communism, which, as you know, I'm sure as you know, Stalin killed millions of his own people in the Gulag. Well,
communism died a long time ago, but we've had quite a lot of U.S. wars since then. How do you explain that?
Which great U.S. wars?
Well, there's one raging in Iraq at the moment, in case you missed it.
No, but there's 5,000 U.S. soldiers dead. That doesn't seem like a great war in comparison to the great wars in the history of the world.
Well, not unless you're a wife of one of the 5,000 dead, or perhaps a family member of the 25,000 seriously wounded, or, dare I mention it, Anthony, in Texas, if you're one of the family members of the 1.1 million Iraqis that have been slaughtered in that war and occupation.
How many Iraqis were slaughtered by Saddam Hussein?
Well, not that many, Anthony, but we're actually talking about the ones you're slaughtering now. No, Anthony, we're talking about the ones that you're slaughtering now. Saddam's dead. Communism's dead. But George Bush is still slaughtering Iraqis. and he's going around the world trying to bully countries into sending their soldiers to kill or be killed in another war in Afghanistan. And he's thinking about launching another war against Iran. What do you say?
Well, I think if Iran wants nuclear weapons, then yeah, America needs to stop.
Okay, so it was communism first of all, and now it's Iran. Where next, Anthony? If we step out of line, do you think...
North Korea next.
North Korea next, Anthony. Do you fancy that one?
Kim Jong-il.
Do you want to fight them, Anthony? Do you want to fight the North Koreans, Anthony?
If you live in South Vietnam, I bet you want America too, because you don't want him. You don't want that madman Kim Jong-il.
I think you meant South Korea.
Country.
I think you meant South Korea.
I'm sorry, not Vietnam, South Korea.
No, Vietnam was the other country that you decimated. Vietnam was the other country where you killed millions of people. Where you dropped... You want to talk about chemical weapons? What about the chemical weapons you dropped on the people of Vietnam, whose children are still being born with 3 legs today as a result of it? You decimated Vietnam. You've decimated Iraq. You're threatening to decimate Iran. Is there no end to your bloodlust, Anthony?
Do you really think that America is that imperialistic?
Well, we've just rolled off quite a few countries you've decimated. That sounds pretty imperialistic to me.
Can I make a point?
Yes, I hope you will.
Most powerful
You haven't made one
in the
yet.
history of the world. How much has our territory increased since America?
Well, we're not talking about your territory increasing, Anthony. We're talking about your hegemony. You invaded Iraq because you wanted to rule Iraq by proxy. You invaded Vietnam and killed millions of its people and destroyed the country in 20 years of saturation bombing, including chemical bombardment. You may have forgotten, Anthony, but we have not forgotten that little girl, her skin dripping off her as she ran from a napalm attack dropped by your big, brave Air Force.
Now would you like me to be the cat?
Sir, I salute your courage, your strength, your indefatigability. I can honestly tell you that there was not a single person to whom I told I was coming to Iraq and hoping to meet with yourself who did not wish me to convey their heartfelt, fraternal greetings and support.